we've dealt primarily in vintage,
Okay.
pre 75. I know the shiny stuff, pretty well. I think our clients tend to move more towards the vintage stuff, but we do handle a lot of modern as well. And it's incredible because, back in the day, you'd get cards from Upper Deck that would have a cut of a Babe Ruth signed canceled check, and they'd cut the autograph out. And I was selling a bunch of cuts to and a bunch of signed checks like Ty Cobb and Honus Wagner back in the day, and they would make these one of one cards. And at one point, I thought they were going to frame them, not cut them up and kind of kill history and ruin history. Then I thought, you know what? It's cool to combine a card with an autograph. It's a document. What they're actually doing is a benefit to us because the more checks they cut up, the more the full checks are going to be worth later on down the road. But then my point is that I saw all these one of one cards being created where the price would shoot all the way up to the moon and come down to the grass. And it would just plummet. So people were kind of chasing their next product and what they would buy. So they would buy that stuff at a high price. Realize in a month they'd come out with another 10, 20, 30 products. They need the money, the funding, the capital to buy stuff. So then they'd sell it, dump it. So that's when, I think prices would come down on that stuff. It's, then cut to 2025 where you have all these cards going for four, five, six, seven, eight figures. You would never imagine. Who would imagine a card that was printed a half an hour ago that goes for 13 mil? But I think it's not Kevin O'Leary, the two partners he bought it with. They've got, tons and tons of capital, either behind them or in their assets. So they can afford to do that. And what I think they're trying to do is move the needle. They're trying and I always say buyer beware because to me, if you gave me 13 million to spend on cards or a card, I'd buy 13 cards that are low pop vintage, because they're not printing anymore. When is another Jordan Kobe going to come up? When is another Jordan Kobe LeBron? When's another Jordan Gretzky Tiger Woods? I mean, Brady. I mean, they're goats, but this type of stuff can be printed today and sold tomorrow. Whereas the vintage stuff that's low pop, they're not printing it anymore. They're only X amount of Wagners, Mantle rookies, Gretzky rookies, Jordan rookies. So that there are only I think 334 tens in the Jordan, PSA 10s. So the quantity. Yeah, there are 101s, but when you look at it, in my opinion, there are a lot of one of ones and one of fives and tens and 15s and 20s and 99s and 499s. I mean, there's just a lot. And then you have cards that are 56 different colors and July 4th looks and zebra and so I think the biggest thing for that is buyer beware because if Kevin O'Leary goes on MSNBC or Fox News and says, "Hey, look what I bought," he has a responsibility to be able to back that up with other sales, but he starts getting people pumped. They start taking mortgages out on their homes and they start spending money thinking, well, if Kevin's doing it, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to spend all this money and I'm going to double and triple and 4x my money. Well, I always said if someone, you know, people didn't know years ago to save their cards. That's why they're worth what they're worth today. And then even in condition, people didn't know to hold on to them. People flipped them. They put them in their bicycle spokes. Today, people know that if they're going to open up the pack, open that one pack, take 5 minutes, and make sure you don't hurt the card, and make sure you keep it in mint condition. And it doesn't always guarantee you opening up that pack and that things will be in mint condition because quality control is not 1,000%. You don't know what those sheets are going to be printed, cut, wrapped. You don't know. They could be fives, PSA fives, if they're coming out of those packs and something's wrong with the card. So again, I say buyer beware because you go and spend a lot of money you don't have, throw it on your credit card, think you're going to get the $1 million card. Next thing you know, you can't pay your mortgage, you can't pay your rent, you can't pay for food, and you're wondering where the heck all your money went because you're gambling.